No, potatoes aren't supposed to be that color. Hey, how's everybody doing? This is DM Cheshire Cat with Four Story Games. I am super excited to jump back into another episode of Limbo Knots as these crazy guys decide to come back and play another game with me because, a lot of people don't. So I'm glad these guys come back and enjoy it. So, as usual, we're going to run around and I would like you to introduce your character. First yourself and your character, and then I want you to answer a question that I will ask you. We've done this before. If this is your first time tuning into Limbo Knots, a lot of these games are built based on the characters, and this game will be more so built based on what the players want to do. So I'll ask them questions about things that exist in the world, and they'll come up with stuff. Kind of on the spot. So it's a lot of improv. It's a lot of fun. This one is actually going to be heavy limbo. We're going to try to dip into heavy limbo this time. So a lot of things are going to be crazy. Everything basically is going to be decided by your lovely players. And it's going to be a fun ride. It's going to be a fun ride. So let's start off with some introductions. I want you to introduce yourself again, your character, just name, class, and please put the name in the chat so that I don't forget them. And then also, I'm going to ask you a question, and I would like you to answer that question based on whatever you would like to answer. So first, we are going to start with my good friend Scott. And Scott, what is the first color that you see when you wake up? And this is for his character, not for Scott, but for his character. But we're going to start with him. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Scott. There?
Yep.
Everything's working this time. I've played D&D for about a decade now. And the first color Warren sees when he wakes up is red. His eyelids are red. He's a red slod. He's a frog person, so he wakes up, he looks up, and his eyes are still closed, but before he even wakes up, he sees red. So,
does in fact see red as soon as he wakes up. We are going to then go on over to and please put that in the chat for me as well, so I have Warren's name, and everybody else has Warren's name. Next up, we're going to go to Mara, and Mara, what is that taste? Oh wait, that won't work. Anyway, what is that taste as you are waking up? What is that taste? Awesome. And also, so everybody knows, Mara is maybe typing in quite a few things as well. So just keep an eye out on the chat, and I'll be watching as well just to make sure that she's fully able to engage and do everything that she needs to do. But she feels the taste of stale air. That's the taste that she's experiencing right now. Yep. And her character is Ramsey, capital Ramsey, a logic paladin, and you all know her as a warforged. She's a metallic construct. Anything else? All right, cool. Well, let's hop on then to Jen. Your question will be, what part of your body has gone numb and why?
Hi, my name is Jennifer. I'm Scott's wife. This is my third time playing D&D, and my character's name is Mittens. She is a tabaxi monk, barbarian. And what has gone numb is probably her tail because she's probably laying on it again.
Oh, that's too bad. So, yep, she is woken up as well. And lastly, we're going to go over to our my other good friend, Damien. And Damien, I would like you to answer the question, um, what is the first sound that you hear as you wake up?
Hello, my name's Damien. My character is Wendell, the Warforged Centaur gunslinger. And the first thing I hear would probably be gunfire.
Excellent. Yeah. This game is going to actually run a little bit differently. Usually when we start off, I will give those introductions as just kind of a slight way for you to understand what's going on with Limbo. But we're going to keep this. That is exactly what is happening to you all as you wake up. The air is stale. Warren, you kind of see red as your eyes become into focus. There's this there's a numbness in your tail mittens as you wake up because you have been sleeping on it. But also you do hear the sounds of gunfire outside. As you all awaken, you are in what seems like a room made entirely of wood. Looks like maybe a cabin, and it's quite dark. I need everyone to please give me a perception check as we jump into this. I will say for some reason, Scott and Jen, your videos are frozen. I'm not entirely sure why, but everybody else is audio, so it doesn't bother me too much, but I just thought I'd let you know.
5.
That's a 15 for me.
15, okay.
10.
10. And what do we have for Ramsey? 15. Great. So, Warren and Mittens, you all are just waking up, and you're a little bit disoriented as you're waking up inside of this strange place. Warren, the last thing you remember was a dinner, or maybe it was a murder mystery. It was something. There was a cat. And it's starting to come back to you, and you remember the generator at the restaurant at the end of the world turning back on. That's probably the last thing you remember at this point. Ramsey, same for you. You remember that generator turning back on, but also you feel that you are swaying back and forth. You feel as though the ground you're standing on isn't steady. And you hear, I'm sorry. Wait a minute, you wrote Damian Wendell in here. Is Damian Wendell the name of your character, Damian?
Oh, no, I just put Damien and then Wendell.
Wendell is the name. Okay, yes. Wendell is it. Got you. Wendell, you hear gunshots and you are quite familiar with the sound. You also notice that it's probably coming from above you, judging by where it's just gone off. Seems like you can also make out some yelling. It seems like some people are yelling as well. Yeah, that's what you all wake up to. What would you like to do? The room seems to have maybe a ladder at the far end of the room. It's hard to see. It's very dark. I think everyone here has some form of night vision, though, so you all should be able to see. There's a ladder at the end of the hallway that seems to be the only way up, and there are some barrels around you, as well as some crates and some other containers of some sort. So what would you all like to do?
I want to prepare my spells.
I will say, for the sake of this, everybody has had a long rest since the last thing that has happened, and your spells have been prepared. They will be the same spells that you had before, though. I don't think you would have had time to prepare, to like sit down and prepare your spells for the day, but you do have access to the spells that you had prepared the day before.
I want to look in some of the crates and barrels.
All right. Seems to be some sort of cargo. Doesn't seem to be well strapped down or sealed. But this is heavy limbo. And a lot of you all to build this world as we're going through it. So as you open up the barrel, it seems to be some sort of cargo. Jen, what is in the barrel?
How about some sort of ore or like rocks and metals and...
It is some sort of mixture of metals. It looks like unrefined ore of some sort, but you're not entirely sure what. It seems to be some sort of metal. It doesn't look like iron, doesn't look like aluminum, doesn't look like any sort of metal you immediately recognize, but it is of some sort, which may explain why it's not super sealed down in here. Maybe they're not as concerned about it getting wet. But yeah, that's what's in those barrels. And it seems most of these are either mining equipment, or you also see some nets. But a lot of these barrels are full of this you haven't been able to identify. Somebody could roll a check to see if they could identify it, but now Ramsey down to grab onto his heavy crossbow and looks over towards Mittens as she's going through someone else's cargo. He just keeps an eye on you.
Right now, I'm just looking around, staying alert.
Okay, you do hear some more gunfire. It does seem like a fight is going on up above you. And from your perception checks, you're floating on something. This is a boat of some kind. You can feel it swaying back and forth.
Ladies first, up the ladder.
Sure, Mitten goes up the ladder.
Excellent. Mitten climbs up the ladder, and you seem to be standing on a ship of some kind. I would like for you now, because you're the one taking initiative, so you're going to get all the questions. What does it seem that this ship you're on is powered by? Is it sails? Is it magic? Is it engine? What does it seem to be powered by?
How about both magic and sails?
Sounds great. Let me get a color from Damian. Let me get a color from Wendell.
Blue.
Excellent. As she pulls herself out of the bottom of this. Um, Now you're realizing probably a cargo hold of some kind. As she pulls herself up, she looks around the scape of this ship. And the ship seems to be also made of wood, but you can see along the railings, on the edges of the ships, up the mast, there's these arcane runes that have been inscribed into the ship. Um, you can also tell that while the sails are there, there's no wind. You don't feel any wind as you step up, but you see the sails are taut, like they are being blown by something, and you can see the air rippling around the sails, but you don't sense, like, you look around and you don't see any. Um, you actually see a lot of trees. You don't see a lot, like, you're not on the open sea. There's trees and jungle around you, a very dense jungle, in fact, and you're it, you're probably on a river of some kind, going into wherever this ship is going, probably through the river, and through the jungle, using this river as a means to transport cargo. You're guessing that's what's going on. Warren, as you also climb up the ramp, you see uh, some. Actually, I'm going to let you do that. Warren, please give me a number.
42.
42. You see 42 creatures. Yep, we're just going to go with it. There's 42 creatures that seem to be lurking around, looking at the boat, and you can see a lot of them are on the shores, but you also notice that some of these creatures have landed on the boat, and there is a battle ensuing. Ramsey, after checking and to make sure none of that ore was stolen, climbs up the ladder and looks out. And I want you, Ramsey, to also describe who are the crew of this boat? What do they look like? There's not a lot of them. It seems to be only a few here. It doesn't seem to be a very massive ship, but I want you to describe to me what the crew looks like. What race are they? What do they look like? What are they wearing? And I want you to kind of come up with a description for what the crew of this ship is. As that's happening, Warren, as you up and Mittens, you kind of look over and you see this as well. But I want Warren to answer the question. The boat is not floating on water. It doesn't seem that this boat is on a river made of water. Warren, what is the liquid that this boat is floating on? Warren?
What about like a like a lava lampy type stuff?
Sure, we'll go with that. It looks as though it's some sort of viscous liquid, but you can see inside of it these, and I say bubbles lightly, it looks as though they're moving the opposite direction of the ship, and they're these glowing masses of different colors that pass by. They're neon, and they shine up and kind of reflect the blue light of this arcane crafted ship. and these bubbles are flowing and moving past in this. The liquid is clear, but white. It you can see through it mostly, but it looks as though it's like corn syrup or some sort of thick liquid. Um, as you all translucent, that is the word. It is translucent. As you all crawl up out of the hold onto the ship, you see that there are these thin, lean-looking, um, brown scaled creatures. They don't look dragon. They look just reptilian. They look like lizard folk. They're very thin. They have these scales that are showing, but only in certain places. It doesn't seem like they're mostly bright scales. It looks like they're mostly brown, but there's a couple of brightly colored scales across their hides. They look thin. They're very agile. Um, it seems as though a lot of them are swords, but also you notice a couple of them have these long iron-like tubes from which they're pointing at these creatures and squeezing some sort of triggering mechanism, and it's an explosion of fire, and the creatures seem to recoil at this. Have just now kind of gone through a narrow channel, and it seems that the river that you're going up perhaps is widening, and you're getting much farther away from the shores, and these creatures that are jumping onto the boat seem to not be able to make the jump anymore. You've kind of gone out into this open water now, and these lizard folk are fighting, and you notice that the creatures are feline. They're long with very large tendrils that come from their backs, and they're this deep dark purple color. And if you stare, and it took a while to understand almost what they were, but it's probably because of this slight mist that's coming off of them, this purplish mist that's coming off of them, that they're moving and shifting, and it's very difficult to see where they are at any given time. Wendell, I'm going to have, as you all climb up, the Mittens and Warren and Ramsey, you've all made it to the top of this of the ladder, and as you've made it up there, I'm going to need Wendell to please give me a dexterity check to go up this ladder. Looks like Ramsey has turned around and is reaching down as well to help. And Jen, you said you wanted to help him up as well?
Yep. I'll help try to tug him up.
Okay, everybody, if you're helping, please give me a strength check. And if you're climbing, Wendell, please give me a dex check.
Wendell did get a 13, so.
Okay.
I got 10.
10, okay.
11.
All right. And Ramsey, 14. It takes a little while. It's kind of odd because it's clumsy, and you can see he's trying to put his hooves on the bottom rungs and push himself up, and he looks really confused and is trying to find out why he's here or how he ended up here. Kind of, he has this wild, it's kind of creepy, it's kind of weird, but you're helping him up, and you all, I've seen now, you all are kind of used to crazy random things. So you're just, I guess we're helping a centaur metallic thing out of a cargo hold right now, and you all are helping him up, and you all make it all onto the deck. At this time, you see that a lot of the folk sailors have died. A lot of them have been killed by these creatures, but you also see a lot of these creatures have been killed as well. And one of them, who has these golden scales mixed in with his brown, looks over to you all as you come up out the cargo hold, and you hear him say, "Yeah, what are you?" And he holds his gun at you and says, like, "Where did you come? How did you get here?"
How did you get here? I'm not even sure where here is. How do you know you didn't just come into us? You know?
It's an expedition.
You need some help, right?
And just then, one of these creatures jumps up and he kind of dodges out of the way and says, "Yes, help!"
Magic missile.
That these creatures also have noticed you all as well. So it looks like most of them have been taken out, but a lot of these sailors have been taken out as well. Let's go ahead and roll initiative and get this
20.
party rolling. 20, nice. Please put your initiative into the chat because that helps me remember it. Not the best. Let's do this.
That's a nice looking 8 there.
Good work. Good work. That is a solid start to this campaign. Ooh. Okay. Sweet. So we got 17 for Mittens, an 8 for Wendell, 16 for Ramsey, and I think we got, and Warren has a nat 20. Go ahead and add your dexterity modifier. Do you have a dex modifier to your nat 20? 24. Nice. Okay, so it's going to be in this order. Crew. The Warren, Crew, Ramsey, and then we got a... No, it should be Mittens. Sorry. Warren, Crew, Mittens, Ramsey, Wendell. All right. It's going to be Warren, Crew, Mittens, Ramsey, Wendell, and the Beasts. So that's the order. First up, Warren. It is appropriate. You see him. He's saying, like, "Yes, help." And you see one of these creatures that have crawled up on, and one of them is right up on him. It looks like the boat is about 120 feet from prow to stern. From the front to the back, it's about 120 feet. You've come out kind of in the middle at 60 feet. There are 2 of them behind you fighting some crewmates, and 1 in front of you with this captain. It seems there's only about 3 members of the crew left and 3 beasts left. Seems like no more of them can jump onto the boat from here, but you... it seems pretty rough right now. And they're evenly matched, but thanks to you all, the tides have just kind of shifted into their favor. So, Warren, you're up first. You see that one in front of you. What would you like to do?
Magic missile. 1, 5, 10. Magic missile for 13 damage.
15 damage. And these missiles kind of careen around. And you see like the mist that's kind of around him. As soon as he gets hit, the mist disappears, and you very clearly can see this creature now. It is a very long, lean, hungry panther. And it looks at you now as it sees that you very clearly hit it without any trouble. And it looks at you and gives you a snarl. Next up, the crew. That was 15.
I snarl back.
Good. As he turns away from this guy, the lizard folk that's standing in front of him, this lizard man with these golden scales, kind of looks as this beast turns away and says, "Ha ha! I am your foe." Well, no, he doesn't say that. That's totally wrong. He's not. I don't know why I thought of it like that. Anyway, this the lizard person actually just turns and growls, and he doesn't talk like a British person from the 1800s. He just kind of growls and sees that his attention is away and swings at this thing twice with a scimitar. I have no idea why I just went, "Haha, I am your foe." I just felt that, like I really did. One misses and one hits. Oh, actually, both hit. Nope, both hit. For 8, 6. 8 plus 6 is... And then he also will... He's going to use his bonus action, actually, and disengage. And so this lizard folk slashes twice and then ducks behind one of the claws and dodges back. And actually, he's right next to you all now. He's backed away from this thing and has gotten closer to you all to try to take a more defensible position now that some reinforcements from somewhere have showed up. So the ones behind are fighting these guys, and they're having a bit more trouble. That's one hit. 2 hits. Okay. I'm sorry. You all decided this stuff. This isn't my fault. There's some craziness going on. 1, 2. Okay. So behind you all, you also see there are 2 other beasts and 2 other crew members. And one of them seems to have his things well. He has like these almost sapphire scales that are on him, and he's handling himself pretty well. But the other one, as he's trying to lean in and try to attack this creature, the creature kind of shifts out of the way, and as he does, he swings and misses and falls over the side of the ship. I'm going to give him a dex save to see if he can catch the edge. And he catches it. So one dude is hanging on the side of the ship now, trying to hang on to the ship while he's fighting this creature. The other seems to be handling his a bit better. So that was that. Mittens, you're up. And then after that is Ramsey. So
I'm gonna run up to the one Warren hit and uh, attempt to hit it.
Give me some attacks.
First one is 28.
As you swing at this creature, oh, actually, no, this is the one that Warren hit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all he got. Go ahead. That's a hit. That is a hit.
12.
12 damage. All right.
Yep.
Then give me another.
That's 25.
That hits. All right.
13 damage.
All right. Okay, so I think as a monk you get 3 strikes, yeah?
If I choose to use a key point. I'm not doing that right now.
Okay. All right, so she runs up and you tear into this thing, and it like roars, but it's really high pitched, and it seems that it's in a lot of pain as you just a ton of damage to it. Ramsey, you're up. While she's typing in what's going down, I'm going to try to get my things in order a bit. Ramsey, I think for you, what we're going to do is we're going to have you, while Mittens is going, go ahead and type your things into chat, so you all will kind of go at the same time. Yeah. The other one, you can see now that the crew member that's at the back is still kind of dangling and hanging on. But yeah, I think Ramsey, she says she pulls out her lance. So she has this long, kind of metallic, it's a metallic lance, and it seems to entirely be made of metal, not just the handle. And she pulls that out and he pulls it out and kind of situates himself and launches into the battle. While that's going on, Wendell, go ahead and get your turn ready to go. I may wait. We'll wait for this one. He leaps forward towards the one that that Mittens has just clawed into, and it's still kind of like shaking, and you see it like sputtering and trying to get that mist to come back out of it, but it can't do it yet. Forward, and we're going to get a roll here. Dum, 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 dum. 9 plus 7. That is a hit. 9 plus 7 is a hit. Go ahead and give me some damage. And I think you have 2 attacks. Go ahead and roll the second one really quick while you're doing the damage to see if that one hits as well. You all are doing way too well. Okay, that's fine. I mean, it's whatever. Okay. And she ends up dealing 13 damage to that thing. And the 17 hits as well. Go ahead and give me damage for that. Plus 3, so another 10. So she leaps over, and the Mittens has just scratched this thing on the side, and Ramsey leaps over into the side of it and then flips the lance around, and it goes straight into the thing's head, and it falls limp onto the ground. That golden scaled lizard kind of looks. This is great. Help! And he turns around and starts heading towards the other two that are closer to the back of the ship. Pretty good. That was a lot of damage. Pretty good. That one's down. Next up, you see there's two other ones in the back. Wendell, you're up.
Wendell will turn around to the two at the back and says, "Acquiring targets," and he's going to shoot at them with his pepper boxes.
Go for it. As you try to focus in on these things, it's odd, and the one that is harrowing the guy who's hanging over the side, if you're trying to attack him, you'll have disadvantage on the attack. That mist is still around him. But the other one, who seems to be in combat with the one that's still standing, is a clean shot.
All right. For the first attack, that's 19 plus 5.
Which one are you going for?
The one that's not surrounded by mist.
Okay.
And damage is
19 plus 5, you just said?
Yep. But damage is 6, 7, 8, 9. Damage would be 10.
10 damage?
Yep.
Okay.
And the other hit is a misfire.
So you see this centaur. Well, go ahead and describe the attacks. You go ahead and describe it.
All right.
How does that look as he turns around and launches into attacking these creatures?
You start hearing gears grinding, and on the side of his head, there's a box that pops out with 2 barrels that pops out of the box. One fires, smoke and fire comes out of it. The other one, there's a as nothing happens.
But that one that does fire sails true, and you see the creature like and wince and move over to the side, and that's I'm not sure how many of you have seen gunshots yet, and I'll leave that up to your characters and how you'd like to react to that. But he at the shot and kind of tries to reposition himself between this gunfire and the person he's fighting. So, good work. Anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
You want me to make that that Tinker's Tool check to fix that weapon?
I believe that's an action to make that check.
It is.
Yeah, so you can do it, but that'll be on your next turn because you already used the
All right.
action to attack. So,
All right, after that, that'll be all I do.
Okay, and it's kind of disappointing. It's not the best feeling to have your guns jam as soon as you wake up in some random place. But we're actually going to roll around. It is the beast's turns now. The one that is fighting that the lizard folk that's over to the side, he kind of, after he took that shot, it hisses. It's a deep hiss. And that mist pours back out of it, and it becomes a lot more difficult to see. It launches out with its claws and tries to attack the lizard folk that's right in front of it. And that's going to be 2 hits. And that's 6. $15 damage to the one that's right in front of it. Okay. The other one sees this guy kind of dangling over the side of the water and over to where he is, and these tentacles that are on his back, these two long black tentacles, reach over and try to latch on to this head, actually. Um, so he's going to do that. Okay. And these tentacles latch onto him and they deal 16 damage to him. So he's not looking too hot either. But these two seem to be the only two that are still on the boat. You see a lot more of them that are kind of skulking around on the shorelines. Now it's too far to jump. But these are the only two that are still here and causing some damage. So we're back at the top of the initiative. So Warren, you're up.
I am going True Strike on Mittens. It gives you advantage. An extra attack roll.
That's not how True Strike works. It's the next attack that you make. You're targeting a creature. Unless you're about to attack Mittens. Like you target
So the
a
next
creature.
Okay, I read it wrong. Okay, so I'll cast. So I cast True Strike and I can attack it. I can't. It ends up.
It's more of like True Strike is kind of like if you're hunting and you've snuck up on something and it doesn't see you, you cast True Strike and then you attack, and you'll have advantage on the attack.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna cast Magic Missile again.
On which one? The one that's attacking. Both of them have their mist up again. Sorry.
They both do? I'm going to attack the one that is hitting the guy on the side of the ship.
Go for it. Give me some damages.
5, and another 15.
15? So, again, what are the colors of your bolts again?
These were all red. They change depending on what die I'm using.
Perfect. So these red missiles shoot around and crash into this one, and he kind of shakes, and the tentacles that are on him kind of loosen a little bit, and then mist stops. It stops surrounding this. Clearly a panther. It looks like a panther. Yeah, Mittens, you're up. Actually, no, the crew. Sorry. Yeah, the crew. Sorry. The crew. That one guy is, now that the tentacles are free, he's going to try to make a strength check to pull himself back up onto the boat. He does not. So he's still hanging on for dear life. The other one is going to attempt to attack the guy in front of him. Two hits. Two hits for 16 damage. All right. So yeah, that's their turn. Mittens, you're up. Oh, the guy. There's another one. The gold one. He is going to. He's gonna dash for the guy. Nope, I don't think he will. Hmm. I don't think he will. He's going to go after the guy that standing and fighting and not try to. He's not going to try to save the guy who's over the side of the ship. He's going to go and try to kill the other one. And he gets a natural 20. Jeesh. 15 plus. He does 19, and then he does 10. So he runs over there and does 9 damage. He hits him pretty hard, and he with his saber. I mean, not saber. What's that thing? What did I call it just a few seconds ago?
Scimitar.
Scimitar. Thank you. He with his scimitar comes around and gets some 2 really good hits and like cuts open the side of his shoulder. So there's a lot of this dark, almost greenish blood like coming out of this creature. Yeah, he's going at this thing pretty well. So now we're going to do Mittens, and Ramsey, go ahead and do your rolls as well. But Mittens, you're going to be up first.
Okay, I want to attack the one that looks healthier.
Okay, so you're going to go after the one that's holding the, like, harrowing the guy who's hanging on the side of the ship.
Yes, that one.
Okay.
25.
Hits. Does hit.
And then that's 13 damage.
Sheesh.
Second attack is 26. The hit.
It's. Sheesh.
10 damage.
Okay. He's a bit sturdier. He's not as weak as the other guy, it seems, but he's still there. He's still holding on pretty tight. And you get him okay. Not as bad as the first time you attacked, but you're now in this fray.
And then I growl.
And then she growls at it. And yes, there is one lizard folk right now kind of holding on for dear life, trying not to fall off the side of this ship right now. Let me do this. Okay. Yeah. The one you're fighting right now, Mittens, is still doing pretty well. Go ahead and give me a strength check, Ramsey. Ramsey sees this guy hanging off the side of the ship, and she's going to run over and try to pull him back onto the deck so he doesn't fall in this neon bubble that's shining blue beneath him. And she rolls an 18 plus 4, which is plenty, and hauls this guy up and throws him on the deck, and he's seems to have mostly brown scales. Has a couple of them that are flecked in like this green maybe, but mostly brown scales as he comes up onto the deck, and he's as Ramsey pulls him back up and he lands on the deck. Next up, we're going to Wendell.
Tommy is still there. Is it still the 2, or?
Yeah, it seems to still be the 2.
All right, I'll aim towards the weaker one.
That the one with golden scales, the 2 lizard folk are fighting.
Yeah.
Go for it.
That's a natural 20.
Sweet. For 20s, we're doing double your dice, then add your modifier.
All right.
Add some heavy damage.
That'd be 14 damage.
14 damage. Sweet.
Then as a bonus action, I'm going to use Action Surge and then make a tinkering check to
Okay.
fix that one gun.
Sounds good. You still do have a bonus action. Using an action surge is a free action.
Oh, okay.
So if you have any bonus actions you want to take, you can still do it. But go ahead and give me that tinkering check.
Just make it at 10.
Sweet. So you kind of clear the barrel and you're good to go. But that hit did do a lot of damage. That thing is kind of leaning over a bit. And it kind of sits back up. And that mist starts to pour out of it again. And it's trying to like... eyes are a bit more frantic. And he's looking to the shoreline that's now way too far away to jump. And just kind of lashes out in anger. And he's going to attack each of the lizard folk once. And he swings for not the one with the golden scales, the other one with the sapphire kind of scales in his brown. And he hits and deals 6 damage to him. And then wraps the tentacle and with this a speed that you didn't expect, whips around and grabs around the throat of the lizard folk that has the golden scales that was talking to you originally. And this tentacle wraps around and grabs his throat and begins to choke him. And he does 13 damage to him. And he is now grappled by this creature. He's not looking too good. That the golden scaled lizard folk. He's not looking too well. But we're back at the top of the order with Warren.
Which one looks most rough?
Actually, the one that is currently grappling the golden scaled lizard folk, mostly brown with a few golden scaled lizard folk. He's the one that is looking the most rough.
Does he have the shroud around him?
He does. He does, in fact. It seems both of them have gotten their whatever that shroud is back again.
Okay. I'm going to cast Magic Missile on the guy with Captain.
Okay.
$12.
Describe how these magic missiles kill this panther.
Two red and one blue bolts of arcane energy come through.
Get muted.
Okay, I'm mute. Okay. Two red and one blue bolt come out of my bolt of arcane energy come flying from my fingertips. Hit the beast from the in different spots on the tentacle that has the captain by and slumps down.
And you also kind of see that tentacles snap and release the captain as he kind of falls to his knees. You're kind of getting the feeling that he's a captain. He's kind of like commanding everyone. But the he kind of falls down as this grip releases from his throat, and he.
Well, I also welcome to him.
Okay, and you stand over next to him. He looks up at you. Get the last one. And at this, he pulls out a very small. It looks just like a tube. It looks just like an iron tube. It doesn't look fancy in any way. It just looks like a tube. And he holds it, and you would almost imagine he's holding a wand toward this other creature that's over here. But his eyes furrow a bit, and this explosion launches out the ends of the tube at this other creature. And as it launches out, the tube kind of breaks at the tip. It explodes, and this captain almost like he drops it and just as he's holding his hand and seems to be trying to find a way to cool off whatever this tube is. As he's doing that, his friend who's standing next to him is like, "Don't worry, Captain," and he runs over towards the beast and tries to attack it physically with his sword. And hits. He hits twice. And deals 17 damage. Okay. The guy who just got up from the side of the ship, he is not doing anything right now. He's just kind of breathing and panting underneath Ramsey, who just hauled him up. So next up, we got Mittens and Ramsey. Go ahead and give me your rolls.
Okay, I'm going to attack the creature again.
Okay.
Crowd is up or down?
Cloud is down right now, so you can attack with no penalty. That lizard folk hit him, so yeah.
27.
Sure. I don't. What are your? Never mind. I'm not even gonna ask.
You know what my ability is.
I do. I do.
3 plus 12 damage. That one.
Okay.
And then the second attack is that one probably doesn't hit 11.
11 is a miss.
Okay. Hit it once.
You did, and that greenish blood kind of shimmers across your diamond claws. And yeah, next up is Ramsey. And yes, she is going to attempt to to heal up that the lizard folk that looks really shocked and in a lot of pain. Are you going to use lay on hands, or are you going to use a spell slot for your heal, Ramsey? Cool. So she reaches down and she's going to use a spell slot. She's going to cast Cure Wounds at level 1. And as you reach down, you see his breathing kind of regulates, and you roll me a medicine check. Give me a medicine check, Ramsey. As you're healing this creature, his breathing is regulating. He's and sitting up and looking at you. His eyes are really wide. Okay. Okay, and a 16. You can tell with your healing magic that is quite technical and precise in its application. You can feel that he had some sort of internal injury as his body was flung over the side of the boat, but your hand seems to have steadied it and cured whatever that ailment was. It was probably something with one of his livers, um, to cure up. So good work. He's feeling a lot better, and he's kind of sitting up. Next up, we have.
Is there still one left?
There is one left. That's right next to Mittens. Is currently in combat with him.
All right. I'm gonna. Use one of my grit points to do a Deadeye shot, but also I'm gonna use a sharpshooter feat too.
Sweet, go for it. And the mist is down, so you get all your benefits.
All right. $17 to hit.
Hits.
All
Go,
right.
do it. Do it.
That'd be 25 points of damage.
Describe how that last Deadeye shot takes out this creature.
All right, Wendell. Guess the eyes of Window changes from a bright green to a red, and there's a single as it slow-mo flies past the head of Mittens and strikes it right in between the forehead.
And this sound echoes through the jungle, and this creature just suddenly and abruptly stops moving and falls to the ground. Are out of combat. Good work, everyone. Made quick work of them. That's great.
I would like to heal the captain.
Well, go for it. Well, first we're gonna resolve a few things. As things have kind of died down, you all are floating across this neon lighted lake on this blue enruined boat with the sails that fly with no wind. Before we go any further into the story, I would like each of you to please give a physical description of your character, how they look right now. So, because I know we have Damien, who's new, I want everybody to please describe what their character looks like, and and just kind of how they look right after this battle has happened. And we're gonna start with we'll start with Jen this time. And Ramsey, go ahead and start. Give me the description, and then I'll read it out when you're ready. But we'll start with Jen.
Okay, so Mittens is a tabaxi, which is a cat humanoid. She has mostly black fur, but with white patches on her hands, feet, and face. And right now she has all that glowing green blood all over her hands. So the fur's probably getting stained green at the moment. But otherwise, she's looking pretty okay. A little angry. Ears flat to her head from the loud noises.
Yeah. So she's a little bit frustrated, but everything's dead. That's dangerous. So it's not it's good. It's okay. Next up, we're going to go over to. Let's actually go to Wendell.
Wendell is like a robotic centaur. Its main primary color is black, and most of his weapons are highlighted in deep dark purple. His eyes normally bright green, but when he does any type of long range shot or focus shot, it turns to bright red with like crosshairs. On the side of his head, there's two square mechanical objects with barrels coming out of it. And his right hand doesn't really have a right hand or arm. It's basically a big metallic pipe that has different like pipes connected to it.
Definitely. And we're going to go over to Warren.
I'm a tall frog person, a slod. Red skin, and my attire is kind of haphazard. Some parts are loose fitting, some parts are tight fitting. And I'm bending over to try to put my hand on the captain, cast a spell.
All right, and Ramsey is bipedal, about 7 feet 1 inch robot, vaguely humanoid shapes. His eyes are of this copper tone, but you see that there's this artificial muscle that's connecting his joints, and his limbs glow green. The metal plates that are on him are a dark gray, and there's a faint text that's on the side of his head that says Ramsey, but it's like some of the letters are capitalized. There's symbols in between them. It's this some sort of technological language, but the letters are Ramsey. So yeah, you lean over Warren, and you put your hand. You're attempting to help the captain, correct?
Yes, with cure wounds.
All right. Give me a roll.
5.
Okay. So you put your hand over on this captain, who seems to have taken quite a bit of damage. And you kind of like put your hand on his shoulder, and this energy flows from you, and you can see the scar marks where some of his scales have been broken around his neck, where that tentacle had grabbed him. Kind of like the scales kind of reshape around his neck, and it kind of his air of prowess. Didn't do a lot of healing, to be honest. Didn't do too much, but it seems as though you've at least healed things on the outside, and he looks presentable again. He kind of stands up.
I also want to cast Prestidigitation on him and me.
You muted halfway through again. You said prestidigitation for what purpose?
To clean myself off and his battle grime off.
Excellent. And this, you're cleaning up what looks like, now you got a chance to look at him really. He's brown scaled. He has a few golden ones, and they seem to be on his brow and a couple on his shoulders and chest. He's wearing a vest made of a dark material of some kind, pants the same way, and there is a dark grayish color, and yeah. So how does it look when you're, because he has a lot of this green blood on him. What does that look like when your prestidigitation cleans him up?
What do you mean?
Like, how does it? Does it like? Does the blood just disappear? Does it fade away? Is it pulled off of him by some sort of magic? What's going on?
Yeah, I'd say it just like knocks it off of him to the like deck of the ship or the arcane blow dryer.
Nice. So it's less of like a mystical, it disappears, and more of a very sure as it just flies off of him onto the ground, and he's just standing there pristine and looking a lot um, more presentable as a lizard folk captain may. He sits up and he looks at the one that's next to him and just kind of grumbles, "Head count now." And that one sits up and says, "Come," and begins to go about the ship. As he walks by, he's going to go over to the other one, the one that has the green flecks inside of his brown scales, and grab him by the arm and kind of pull him up to his feet. I know Ramsey's next to him, but they look like they're about to go off and do something. Ramsey, you can act there if you'd like. In the meantime, the captain turns around and looks at you. "You have my thanks, creature. What are you all?" And he's scanning right now. He's scanning and looking at everyone. Just kind of things have settled down a bit, and they're out in heavier waters. Just kind of looking at you all, expectantly.
It seems like the gods have sent us to help you, and here we are.
Warren, I want you to describe I want you to decide right now if these lizard folk are really religious or not religious at all.
Superstitious maybe? Like, you know how sailors tend to get? There's certain little quirks about it. They might do the most.
So he kind of looks up at the sky, and it's high noon. The sun is right above everyone right now. And he kind of looks up at the sun, and as he looks up, he scratches one of the scales off of his cheek and just flicks it off, and looks at the sun and flicks it off and says, and points up to the sun with his hand, and looks down at you again and says, "Well, thank you. The gods have sent us a great gift this day." Meanwhile, as the sapphire scaled one is kind of pulling this smaller looking lizard folk with the green scales up to his feet, Ramsey kind of leans over and is like, how does your body feel? And it comes out very medical and sterile in tone. He sits up. Better, thank you. We should go. And the one with the sapphires, we'll call him Sapphire. We got Sapphire, Gold, and Green. Grabs Green and says, "Yes, we should," and pulls him along, and they start heading actually towards where you all came up out of the center of the ship. Meanwhile, Gold is standing at the front, like just kind of breathing a bit, and then he begins to make his way over to the carcass of that one of the panthers, and he pulls it up and looks at you all and says, "These things have been the bane of our trip, of our expedition. They've taken way too many men. I have no idea how we'd even make it back or make it to where we're trying to go. If you all hadn't shown up, I wouldn't know what we would do."
What can we do to help?
Well, first, I guess, what are your names? Where'd you come from? And he's really confused now. Now, like, the adrenaline's wearing off, and he's trying to just think, and nothing adds up. There's a robotic centaur. There's another robot who just healed one of his crew members. There's a cat who's looks like the Panthers, but isn't like the Panthers, is standing straight upright with white hands. Maybe the white hands mean that she's okay and not going to kill us. And then there's this giant frog person who's talking to him right now. He's really confused.
The gods must have sent us, friend. What can we do to help? I don't know where we came from or where we're going, but...
Okay.
Are you hurt? You need help?
A little. A little. I guess. Well, first,
My name's Warren, by the way. What's yours?
Warren.
I gotta shake his hand.
He doesn't respond. He just sees you putting your hand out and kind of looks at it and kind of looks back at you. And you can see, like, he clearly has no idea what you're doing. And he just, you have names then. That is good.
Ramsey has sort of made his way over and is introducing himself. Let me know if I'm too quiet.
I moved my extended hand and put it through my hair if I had hair.
He's like, okay, Warren, you all are named then. We have not that honor yet. It is good. It's good to hear.
How do you tell each other apart?
We do not. Until you have proven yourself, we are the same. We are the same. Well, come. Let's at least eat these creatures and get some good use out of them. And he throws the corpse of one of them over his shoulder and begins to walk towards a different hole, different than the one that the other two went down, and he starts going over towards that one closer to the front of the ship.
I want to help them.
Come.
I want to help them clean the animals and get them prepared.
Okay. Well, he kind of walks and he throws the one body into. Well, first he passes the hole the other two went down, the first hole that you all came out of, and he throws one body into there. And he says, and he just kind of is throwing them into there, and you can see that his crew are catching it down there and bringing it to somewhere, probably to butcher it. And then he just kind of says, well, you all come to my chambers. There's a lot to discuss. And he just kind of is throwing the bodies down there for them to fix, and then he's walking towards the other way down. I don't know how else to say that. The other... What's the interior of a ship called? The belly? Nope, that is not a nautical term. He goes into the other belly of the ship.
Okay.
The other hold?
Hold, that's it. So he seems to be going there. And you all have a few seconds on the deck to talk amongst yourselves before you go and see presumably the captain.
I run up to Warren and ask him to clean my hands. Clean this stuff off of me.
I cast prestidigitation on Mittens and ask
All right.
He moves himself around, then I rotate him.
Was the two robots. I can't think of either of your names. Ramsey. And I asked Ramsey if you want me to clean you off, or are you good?
That would be appreciated.
I guess precedent takes on him, and go to Window. And I haven't seen you around.
Yes, this unit is new to this circumstance. Not too sure where I am.
Yeah, I was about to say, Wendell, the last thing you remember is you were in this construct of yourself patrolling your ship, and now that construct is here. I have no idea. Like, you're really disoriented right now.
But if you need a name, this unit is named Wendell.
I extend my hand out, like, to take his gun. Yeah.
Not too sure what you're doing.
I go back and do the whole thing with where I would have hair if I had hair.
Slayer, let's see what you can do.
Ramsey turns his head towards Wendell and says his designation, his name, in the same manner Wendell did, and sort of nods at him.
He said the no meetings on the fast Sunday, right? Was told to them directly by mistake that they shouldn't do them. Yeah, because we've done them before.
Yeah, I'm letting you all rock right now. You all do whatever you'd like to do.
I go over and bump my shoulder up against Warren since nobody seems to want to touch him.
I was forgetting we were not triple teams this time.
And you two do recognize each other. You haven't seen each other probably since Diamond's Mine, that weird Diamond world. But you do recognize each other.
That was a nice place.
Yeah, remember all the diamonds we got?
Do either of you pull any of those diamonds out?
No.
I added one to my bracelet, so I show him.
But my mice are. I do have two mice that are scurrying around me.
What are their names again? Beretta and Toledo. Beretta and Toledo, they have popped out now, and you all see there are these two robotic mice, question mark, that seem to have, after the commotions died, kind of crawl out around Warren and are jumping up and down around him, and are kind of just a bit excited to be out in the open air. You also see on Mitten's wrist a bracelet, but that bracelet now has a diamond on it, and that diamond is larger than either of you have probably seen. Like, that diamond is insanely huge.
I put one of the littler ones on it, not a huge one, like the size of the beads. Like, yeah,
well,
the whole world was made of it.
Yeah, you all, like, it's still a pretty sizable diamond, and it's
She likes her pretty thing.
it's nice.
Yeah, right there. He doesn't like it right there. Thanks, I died while you did that.
Ramsey sort of leans over to inspect these robotic mice. Sort of a
Sure.
curious way.
Don't touch.
Warren? Warren, do you let her inspect the mice?
Yeah, I said be careful of this, the Beretta. She bites. Hold one out in my Toledo out in my hand and hold it up to her. Or Ramsey.
Ramsey sort of touches the top of its head very gently with one robotic finger.
And Toledo seems to respond, and a bit positively, like kind of pushes himself into it. Could you please give me either an investigation or an arcana check while you're investigating this small metallic robotic mouse?
Yes. Total of 16 arcana.
You notice that these are, you're not entirely sure, but they seem to be holding an incantation of some sort. They seem to be able to they're connected. They're very innately connected on almost like a quantum level with each other. This is very, very high level magic that's inside of these small mice. And they seem to be linked almost impossibly so. I would say you're mostly technological, your construct. This seems to be a very purposeful wedding of technology and magic.
Ramsey makes a sort of a thoughtful, whirring noise while retracting his finger.
I move to go follow the captain guy. Gold scales.
I follow behind.
Follows that as well.
Okay. There is another ladder. So that's a thing. Do you want to go all the way down or stay on top, Wendell?
Wendell circles around the hole where the ladder is, and he's like, "This unit decides to stay up top. Like, watch out for creatures, enemy hostiles."
Okay.
Affirmative.
There's kind of this robotic camaraderie happening that I really like. So the rest of you follow the captain down into the hold. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Cool. As you go down into the hold, you see that he has kind of taken his vest off, and you can see there's quite a few scars on his chest, and he seems to be pulling down some strips of meat and out a a bottle of something. It seems to be a gourd of some sort of liquid. He kind of slides it over to you all and spreads the meat out on what looks like a large banana leaf, and puts the meat down and slides it over to you. And he kind of gives a bow. My thanks again. You've saved us this day.
I want to smell it discreetly to see if it's okay for me to eat.
Give me a survival check.
Ramsey sort of inspects it, but then politely declines, pointing at his the fact that his mouth is mostly only a sort of.
I'll take your serving, Ramsey. It's okay.
22?
You can determine that this is definitely panther meat. It's definitely the whatever those creatures were up there. You can still see a little bit of the tinge of green in the flesh. You don't know if panther is good to eat or not, but it doesn't smell like rancid. It seems like it was smoked and smoked really well. That's you. You are confident this is dried panther.
But as I'm a tabaxi, would I eat something that looks like me?
That is entirely up to you.
I mean, cats are ruthless.
One thing about the Star Wars game that takes some getting used to.
Okay, she starts to eat it. She's hungry.
Well, unfortunately, no, you weren't there, but Warren and them did not get to eat any of that delicious smelling beef wheel.
I eat as many portions as I can, Ramsey's and mine, and I'll take one up to
Wendell?
Wendell, yeah.
Yeah, so you all eat, and he kind of lets you, and he will pour into to smaller, seem to be foods that have been cut to make cups, and he pours clean, clear water, and he just pours water into these other cups and passes them over to you all to drink, and you all kind of just have this repast for a little while. Wendell, you see Warren kind of climb back up the ladder and poke out, and it looks like he's holding some sort of meat.
You don't want this, do you? It's half eaten already anyway.
Wendell, he's holding this up to you as he's climbed up the ladder.
Oh, sorry, I did not see you there. This unit does not eat or drink, but thank you.
I finished up the last little bits. No problem.
Excellent.
And Wendell goes back to looking around the area.
Wendell, go ahead and give me a perception check while you're up there. Warren, you go back down into the hold, and the captain looks pleased that you all are eating, and looks specifically pleased at you, Warren, as you're eating and look like you're having a great time and just eating everything. He's happy his offering is taken well. Wendell, as you look up, you can see pacing along the edges of the water, you see dozens more of those panthers. You see them just watching the ship as it floats out into this larger river. And you can also see that there is some sort of stone structure that seems to be up ahead. It's kind of large, not too big, but looks as though it's maybe the size of a 10-story building. It looks like something. It looks like it was. It's pretty big, but it's not. It's not like a skyscraper, but it's still a pretty large building. But it just seems to be a stone edifice of some sort that the ship is slowly moving up, and you're pretty confident now that you're going upstream towards this.
All right.
Go ahead.
How close is the building? Like, how many hours, minutes?
Roll me an investigation check with advantage, because I feel like a robot would be able to find this out.
That's a 10.
10, not too sure. You're thinking between 12 and 36 hours.
All right. And the creatures, the panthers, are they getting closer to the ship or further away?
They seem to be staying the exact same distance. They seem to be looking at you, but not staying close by. Like, they're just all staying close by at the bank, watching the ship as it's going.
All right. If there's no real danger, I'm going to go into a small trance.
Okay. So yeah, at this time, go ahead, everybody. Let's take a short rest. That's we'll have everybody have a short rest here while you all are eating and kind of talking and figuring out what's going on. And in real life, we'll take a 5-minute break. Come back at about 10:10, and we'll get the second half of this show on the road. Sound good?
Yep.
All right. Let's take a break.